Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar with MAPS coach Richard Schulman. There are three main. Please note that this webinar is being recorded, and you will automatically receive the recording of the webinar an hour after the call has ended. If you have any questions for your coach, please type them into the questions box located in your webinar taskbar. Following the webinar, if you have any questions about today's call or the coaching program, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com. That is fasttrack@kw.com. That's all from me. Richard, take it away.
Hey, thank you, Corey, and good morning, everyone. Let's jump right in. Here's lead generation through a shift. Oh, hold on. I think you can see the screen now. There we go. Hey, everyone. Good morning. Richard Schulman, lead generation through a shift, and let's jump right in. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about, surprisingly, lead generation through a shift and why that's important. So if you have not been through a market shift, and I assume a lot of you have not, you really have no idea what you're in store for. The good news is, the good thing I'll share with you is that competent, skilled brokers who are learning-based, skills-based, and focused on results are going to see their businesses expand, right? So contrary to what you might think, a slowing/shifting market is actually an opportunity for top salespeople to expand their businesses. So with that, let's jump right in. Take out your phones. If you're live, you can do it now. If you're on replay later on, you can pause and do it. Just text 5 people and ask them for coffee. I want to show you guys really simple things that we're doing to connect with people, and I'll show you in one slide or two slides exactly why that's important. So while you're doing that, let me just walk you through what a shift looks like. Last time there was a market shift, I went from doing 9 deals a year, 7, 8, 9 deals in 2004, 5, and 6. In 2007, I tripled my business, and in 2008, I doubled my business on top of that. So I went 6x in 2 years. So I've been through a shift before. I've seen it before. And I know that it can change your business. So text 5 people, ask them to meet you for coffee. Just say, hey, Corey, can we meet for coffee? All right, great. And if you don't have time to finish that now, you can do it afterwards. I want to show you what we're really focused on right now, which is really purposely converting leads into appointments, right? In a shifting market, everything we're doing is converting leads into appointments because all we want are face-to-face appointments. All right, here's a little bit about me. This is my 13th year now, just finished my 12th year at KW. I love training. I've been to all the mega camps and family reunions and everything since I joined. We've done about now $850 million in sales. And here's what I'm really proud about that I've mentioned before. So when we talk about converting leads, right, how does a big team convert leads purposefully? I'm not spending a lot of money. In fact, I'm spending, as you can see, no money on buying or acquiring new leads. And so when we say how do you convert leads like a mega agent, I think a lot of you are thinking, well, I don't have the budget to convert leads like a mega agent. I don't have a big budget because I don't have $105 million in sales in a year. You don't need that. So starting with this year, we basically cut all of our paid ad spend out. We do spend some money to support our listings, but we spend no money on new lead acquisition. Everything is face-to-face, sphere of influence, repeat referral, open house, and leveraging our listings for leads. All manual work, all free. All right. Write that down. Think about that. We're going to sell, and that's year to date. We're going to get to about $120 million with no money on new leads. By the way, the MREA calls for about a 10% marketing budget. We're at about a 0.5% marketing budget. That means our profit margins are 9.5% higher than they would be otherwise. And I'm not asking you or my team to do anything weird. Just pick up the phone and really purposely set appointments. We do the coffee dates like we do here because what we find is that sphere of influence, social networking engagement is the most effective, least expensive way to generate business. Now, once you have the coffee dates, there's some nuance on converting those, but for the purposes of today's call, we're just going to focus on getting those appointments. So when you text people, just ask them to meet you for coffee. Hey, Corey, you want to grab coffee tomorrow? Hey, Corey, you want to grab coffee Tuesday? What you're going to find is you should probably get 2 to 3 appointments today. So Monday morning, maybe early afternoon for you guys, you should be able to convert 2 to 3 coffee dates right away. If you do that every week, you're going to set 100 to 150 appointments. this next 12 months based solely on that. So when we talk about how does a mega agent convert leads, that's what I do all day, right? After this, I've got a couple of lunch meeting and a coffee date, and that's my day, right? All right, so Gary said this at MegaCamp, 7 appointments. Now, when Gary or Maps say appointments, generally they're referring to contract signing appointments, listing appointment, buyer meeting. I think that's great. I would like you guys to be setting at least one a day on average, 5 a week of non-contract appointments, social engagement dates, coffee, lunch, et cetera, et cetera. But we are going to be talking specifically in the class and a little bit today about setting contract signing appointments. Now, a contract signing appointment is a buyer meeting or a listing appointment, right? But on top of that, it's really important to understand that we additionally need social engagement. We need, rapport building appointments, and especially if you're not at the point in your business where you're setting one contract appointment a day, which is a lot, then you need to get there by setting social engagement face-to-face appointments. So if you guys have been listening to Gary for the last 3, 4, 5 years, then you've been hearing him talk about the moat. Right? What's the moat? The moat is a defense around your database, right? So I think we spent a long time in this business talking about how do you build massive, massive databases. And I think what we're seeing now is that cold dialing, circle dialing are less effective, that more and more people are pursuing leads, that we need to go deeper instead of wider, right? So in a shifting market, we're going to go deeper into the database we have. If you watch the replay of MegaCamp from this year, the first video, the opening remarks from MegaCamp, the agent session, Gary and Jay talk about an agent in the original MREA, Christina Martinez, who had a 400-person database and was doing $100 million a year in sales before a lot of people were doing that, right? So we want to go really deep in our database. You go deep by building a moat around it. So what we're going to talk about today and in the class is how to find leads, how to convert them into appointments, and then especially how to convert them into purposeful appointments. All right, so you want to set appointments. Here's a script, right? So in a shifting market, so write this script down while I walk you through it. In a shifting market, what we're going to be doing is really focusing on meeting with people, and I believe that the people that you want to be meeting with more than we've been focusing on prior are buyers, right? I'm not saying give up the sellers. I'm saying right now, in a shifting market, the money is with the buyers, right? Listings have a long timeline. A lot of them are not selling. They're taking a long time to sell if they do sell. If you want to go and make money for Q4 or get your pipeline for Q1 right, I want you to take a renewed focus on buyers. Don't give up listings, right? I still have 15 listings on the board right now, which is a lot for us. But I want you to really focus on spending time with buyers is where you're going to make money on short term, right? And of course, long-term buyers all become sellers. So if you look at my business doing this for about 15, 16 years overall, is that my business comes from 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, where we sold hundreds and hundreds of foreclosed homes to buyers, and those people have been reselling those homes in the decade since then, right? Okay, so here's the script. If you use this script on a potential buyer and they're not interested, I want you to understand it's okay to walk away and find a new buyer. There were 5.5 million closed transactions last calendar year. There'll probably be a little bit less than that this year. There are a lot of people who buy and sell homes every day. If someone's not interested in what I'm going to tell you right now, find someone else, right? It's my new coaching strategy of the year. If you're having trouble with a buyer, trouble with a seller, the solution is to find motivated people who want to do business today. So here's the script. I'm seeing some incredible opportunity in the market right now. Is that something you're interested in discussing? You can use this script on the phone. You can use this script at an open house. You can use this script at carpool line, right? You can use it at soccer practice for your kids. You can use it at any social event that you're doing. You can use this at your coffee dates, right? When I teach you scripts in the class, the scripts are not narrowly focused to one scenario. I want to teach you broad scripts that really work anywhere. Anywhere you can work this in a conversation is a great way to see if someone wants to buy or sell real estate, right? There's incredible opportunity in the marketplace. If they're not interested, it's okay, move on. If they are interested, you can then convert them for a formal appointment or have a brief conversation. Now, I'll give you a quick note about conversations. We actually spend almost an entire hour talking about just this one topic here in the full class. But what I want you to understand is when we have an appointment, appointments are always done face-to-face, never by phone. So again, when we talk about converting leads into appointments like a mega agent, that is exactly what we're doing here. We are not having appointments on the phone, right? A weak agent, new agents will have an appointment on the phone, right? You're on the phone, you want to talk about real estate? Let's talk about real estate for 15 minutes. No. If you're on the phone with someone, they want to talk about real estate, they respond positively to this script, then we will say, you know what, it sounds like you have some more questions. Why don't we meet in person? How's tomorrow, right? Okay, let me go over the script again. And by the way, you can really customize the script. Some of the scripts I'll give you, I want you to really do word for word. This one you can use pretty much however you want, but it's written, in my opinion, really well since I wrote it myself. So the script is, hey, Steven, I'm seeing some incredible opportunity in the market right now. Is that something you're interested in discussing, right? You can customize that for whatever exact scenario you're in. But the key thing is I'm seeing opportunity, and the close is, do you want to know about it? Now, we don't normally like yes or no closes, but in this scenario, if the answer is no, it's okay because I'm only skimming for people who are interested in opportunity. If you're not interested in opportunity, we have nothing really to talk about as far as real estate. Now, a couple notes here. One, you have to have opportunity in your local marketplace. I assume that you all do because I believe that just about everyone's in a market that is shifted to some degree and is continuing to shift, right? If you're not, or you believe you're not, you might want to double check because I haven't talked to anyone who could really prove otherwise. But anyways, that's one. And two, you have to have some examples or some samples for them. So hey, we just sold a property for X price, and the last comp was 8% higher, so we saved our buyer 8%. You know, people like to know those real crunchy numbers. So if they are interested in discussing, you should have some backup to go with that. Okay, there we go. And by the way, if you get an appointment back from the text messages you sent earlier, let me know in the question box, okay? Normally in a full hour call, we do this on all of the hour calls that we do, we usually see about 2 to 3 per 5 that are converted, right? And remember, like with everything in real estate and sales and life, 5 is the minimum, not the maximum. So if you want to do 10 or 20, that's fine too. Just know at some point you're going to be really busy with coffee dates. Here's another script, very similar. I'll give you a second to write this down. It's basically the same script written a little bit differently. I've seen prices down by as much as 10%. Are you interested in a home that's discounted by that much? Now, again, you have to have this in your marketplace and you have to have your numbers known. But I can tell you confidently in my market here in Los Angeles, there are a lot of properties that are selling between 5 and 15% discount from where they would have sold 6 to 12 months ago, right? When you tell people that, their ears perk up. So if you don't know the answer of what can I get a house for today, then you should do some research, right? You're the market expert. You need to know these things. Okay, I'll leave it up there for one more second. I've seen prices down here by as much as 10%. Are you interested in a home that's discounted by 10% or more? If they say yes, you've got a hot buyer. If they say no, then move on. Call someone else. Now, a couple of notes here. So in today's call, we're not going to talk specifically about finding leads. In the actual class, we're going to start off by talking about where do we find leads and put them into our database. But I'll give you a couple tips right now for that. If you're struggling to put people into your database, I want you to just stop, take a deep breath, and really think about everyone you meet in the world is a potential buyer or seller of real estate, right? When I was a new agent, I got business from lots of strange sources, right? My dentist's son bought a house. The tree guy at my parents' house made offers. My mom's hairdresser made offers on houses, didn't buy anything, but still made offers. Lots of old friends from high school, right? If I wasn't from the local market, I'd be doing open houses, joining a team, door knocking. We're going to talk about all these strategies, but the key I want to underline for today is that everyone out there wants to buy a house. Almost everyone. Let's say 99% of people want to buy a house. 99% of people want to buy a rental property. The question is really not who wants to buy a house. The question is who's qualified to buy a house financially, right? And that depends a lot on your marketplace. But the number one tip I'll give you for finding people is where are we looking for those people? And we should be looking everywhere. All right, now we're also going to talk about seller appointments in the full call. So we have an hour on seller appointments too. Remember, I'm not saying give up on sellers. I'm just saying that if you want to do something now, really refocus on buyers. So here's the key. The key here is, do you feel that there is room for your home to improve in value next year? So if you're talking to sellers and they're saying, geez, my house is worth less than my neighbor's house sold for 6 months ago, and they say, I want to wait, the key question is, do you feel that there is room for your house to improve value next year? And then once you say that, you stop talking and you listen. Because when they have to really critically answer that question, I don't think that most people think that the market will improve next year, right? If they do think that, we can talk them through some economic points, but the reality is we're 10 years into an expansion in home prices. The chance that your home goes up in value next year is pretty slim. Might happen, probably not. Okay, I'll give you a second to write that down. All right, we're going to talk a lot about this in the call. What I'm seeing really recently is I'm seeing that our conversion by phone is declining, not because our skills are changing, but because there's so many agents out there making calls, so many agents and teams with ISAs and OSAs and third-party vendors dialing and scraping leads from the internet. We're going to be really talking about optimizing our database because everything is about efficiency, right? We only have so many hours in the day to work. We need to be efficient. And we also want to really maximize our usage of technology to get in touch with the most people possible with the least effort possible. So we're going to be talking about that. This is something that's changing rapidly because we're just seeing the landscape for this stuff change, right? We're seeing that text messaging is very effective, but not as effective as social media messaging. And we're seeing that triple line dialing to cold spheres is less effective. That's why we're talking about narrowing into our database, really diving into our database. We will talk about this more on the full call, but just something to keep in mind that if you're seeing changes in conversion, there's two components. One, the market for this is changing, and two, we need to make sure our skills are top-notch, right? When skills are not top-notch in a shifting market, people will notice that, right? By 2008, when I sold the 51 homes, I had probably sold 50 homes or 60 homes in my 5 years in real estate up to that point. It was not until the middle of 2008 in a house in Northridge, California, that someone asked me, why should I hire you to be my agent? And it was a real watershed moment for me because no one had ever asked that before. You know, my first sale was just a sign call, and I just showed up and someone wrote an offer, right? My second call was my second sale was one of my best friends, you know. But when you want to sell 51 homes and not 9 homes, you've got to have some skills and you've got to have a compelling reason to hire you. So we are going to discuss value propositions, right? We are going to discuss how to craft one. But the key thing is that if you're a skilled agent, people are going to notice that, right? In 2006, people just talked to the first agent who showed up, right? 2016, same thing. 2019, 18, 20, different story, right? People are looking for skilled agents. In 2008 and 9, the number of realtors at NAR dropped by about a third, right? Something like 500,000 realtors dropped out of the business. The same thing is happening and will happen, and that's opportunity for you. All right. So if I wanted to summarize this program in just one slide, one sentence, I want to absolutely perfect the art of finding people, connecting with people, and setting purposeful meetings with them. Right? Now, that may seem very narrow. We spend a lot of time doing it within the call because if we absolutely perfect it, like it says there on the first line, if we absolutely perfect it, the results are really staggering. Right? I've been doing this for 16 years. I've tried every paid advertising service, every email you get in your inbox that says, give me $500 a month and I'll generate leads for you. I've tried every single one. What I've realized after doing that and spending a lot of money on that is that the best thing for us to be doing is finding people in our lives, connecting with them purposefully, sitting with them face to face, and then purposely converting them into buyer and seller meetings when they're ready. There's nothing else more important. And a lot of you are sitting there saying, well, duh, right? Of course. I'm talking about being the absolute master, that I want you guys to be able to teach this class by the end of it. Because if you can just absolutely master this process, you don't need a 100,000 person database. You don't even need a 10,000 person database. You need maybe 500 to 1,000 people in the database, and maybe 300 people who would recognize you at the market if they saw you there, right? So I'm going to teach you how to do that. To build your database set size, I'm going to teach you how to master that and just sit down and focus on connecting with people one-to-one, because that's the entire business, right? So if you do nothing else today, right, don't do your emails or your Facebook or anything else until you just go out there and text 5 people or maybe Facebook message 5 people and just set face-to-face appointments. Because you know what? There's about 500 people listening to this call, and if we all text 5 people, that's about 2,500 text messages. And I absolutely 100% guarantee you in those 2,500, someone is going to set a buyer meeting, someone will set a listing appointment, probably lots of you, and more importantly, a lot of you will set buyer and seller meetings with people who you were not in touch with. People who say, I'm glad you called because you know what, I was thinking about buying or selling a home. Now, we're going to work on converting those within the call. There's a lot of nuance to converting them into purposeful appointments. But for today, what you're going to find is that the more people you reach out to, the more people you realize were thinking about doing something with a different agent than you. Does that make sense? So if that sounds exciting to you and interesting to you, I invite you to join me November 1st. You can register at the link there, and we'll send out a link right afterwards. It's 4 live webinar sessions, 4 hours of me yelling into the phone. It's quite exciting. The investment's only $149. If you've taken this before or talked to we've redone the class to focus on shifts, so 50% new, 50% similar to previous sessions. We will provide you all the written material that you need, and everything here that we use is 100% identical to what I teach my own team, right? My own team members take this call. My own team members have to master this exact thing, and that's exactly how we have 105 million production so far this year with $0 advertising, right? In a shifting market, everything, blah, 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 doesn't matter. We prospect purposely, we meet with people, and we close deals. So if you're interested, I'd love to have you guys on. I'll stick around for questions for a few minutes, and if not, I'll look forward to seeing you on November 1st, a couple weeks on the call. Thanks a lot, guys, for joining me this morning, and whatever you do, just make sure you go out there and meet with people face-to-face.
All right, so we do have a couple of questions that came through.
Perfect. Yeah, let's do it.
Are you paying for the contacts coffee, just getting things going that would add up to whatever percentage of my database says yes?
So usually I'll offer to, but actually it's funny, like if you invite someone to lunch, custom would dictate that you pay for lunch. But actually with coffee, a lot of people pay for their own coffee or order ahead, and it's usually either way. But one of the reasons I like coffee is it's a lot more cost and time effective than a lunch date. I can do 3 coffee dates in a day for $15 versus one lunch meeting might cost me $40 and take the same amount of time.
Awesome. So the next question is, I started in a new market without an SOI recently. Will your class teach how to generate leads as well?
Yeah, absolutely. The first thing we're going to do is really start about how do we really collect leads. You know, something I find, Corey, is that we actually have a lot of leads in our lives. What we don't have is we don't have them purposely organized into our CRM, right, our database management software, which would be a command for most of you guys, right? So the first problem is we have to really just take a step back and figure out where are all these scraps of data in our lives, in our email, in our phones, in our old phones. Maybe we have a Rolodex or a paper system. What we don't have is we don't have them purposely organized. We don't have a systematic follow-up plan set up, and we don't know what to do with someone, right? We don't know what to do when I meet someone. What do I do with them? So in the first couple of calls, I walk you through, here's how we collect the data, here's how we load it into our CRM, and here's ideas and systems and strategies of how do you then take those people from a scrap of data. Let's say, for example, a parent you meet at your kid's soccer game, right? How do you take that data and then convert it to a sale, right? So what you do is we walk you through the whole process of entering it into your database and then create a customized systematic follow-up plan. Because here's the thing, right? When you meet people, not everyone who you meet is going to buy a home today, but a lot of them will buy a home or sell a home eventually. And what we find in real estate is that most people don't have planned buying and selling, right? No one here on this call listening is like, I'm definitely buying a home in 4 years, and I'm definitely going to sell it in 8 more years after that. A good chunk of home purchases and sales are the result of life events, right? Marriage, divorce, death, inheritance, which is a subset of death, children coming, children going, all these things. that are typically unplanned or underplanned, right? You may not want to buy a home. You may be planning for a child, and when the child comes, you may say, well, geez, I really need a new home. Your children go to college. You never thought you were going to leave your house, but they left, and now you have this big house, and you think you should downsize. So the whole thing about what we do is we want to be in front of these people, because if you know 300 people that you would meet at the market and they would say hi to you at the market, statistics tell us about 5% of them are going to buy or sell a home any calendar year. And actually, with most people, when they sell a home, they buy a home. So you're talking there's like 15 to 25 sales in that group right there, doing nothing else but being present with that group. So all you really have to do is be present and master those 300, because of those 300, the stats tell us 15 or so will have some sort of life event that year that will instigate a home sale. So that's sort of a long answer to a simple question. The simple answer is yes. The long answer was that.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so if you're first meeting with buyers at your office or at a home to show. Okay.
So I have a much longer answer within the call. The short answer is I prefer that your first meeting be a buyer meeting at your office, right? We're professionals. Your doctor, lawyer, accountant is not going to meet you at Starbucks. That being said, I'll walk you through some sort of exceptions to that. My overwhelming preference is that your first meeting is a face-to-face buyer meeting, buyer listing appointment with a buyer broker presented at your Keller Williams office. My next preference would be that you do a showing first, what we'd call like a, quote, one free look. You do that, and then you would tell them at that time that the next meeting will be a sit down at the office. Now, we give some exceptions. If you're in an area like LA, we have 20 KW offices within driving distance. So we will sometimes meet at other KWs. That's an open office KW policy. If you're in an area with not as many, but you cover a wide geographic area, I would maybe accept and let you do it at Starbucks. But remember, the less professional you are, the less professional your clients will treat you.
All right, so the next question is, will you be giving us a follow-up plan?
Absolutely. It's like a more follow-up plan than you'll ever be able to use.
There's a couple of administrative questions that I can answer for everyone, if that's okay.
Sure.
So for those of you who missed the script or would like to hear any of the scripts repeated, you will be receiving a recording of this webinar an hour after the call has ended. And the next question is the class time, day, and duration, if you want to cover that.
Yeah, so the classes are Friday, 9 o'clock Pacific, 11 Central, 12 Eastern. They go 1 hour long. There's about 50 minutes of prepared material, and there's time for questions. In the rare instance we don't answer all the questions within the hour, the questions will be answered by email or phone call afterwards. But we usually are able to get to all of the questions. And then in addition to that, we have a few hours of recorded material in addition we provide. And we do have paper material that we also provide through the online platform that you guys can use in your business right away.
All right. Another question is, do you use Market Leader or Command to stay in touch?
We're in the process of transitioning to Command. I think we're not using Market Leader anymore. We're really focused now. We're stripping down a lot of these tech products, these third-party add-on products that were expensive and not really generating business. And we're really just refocusing on just picking up the phone and setting appointments face-to-face with people and not relying on software as much to do our follow-up. So that's a complicated answer, and we'll get into that within the call. But the short answer is Command, yes. Not really a whole lot else right now, except for an auto dialer that we use.
Awesome. That is the end of the questions.
Okay. Thanks, guys, for sticking around. Best of luck with everything, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks, Corey.